Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. Today we're going to play with another new eyeshadow palette, this time from Byredo, called Metal Boots in the Snow. It is a frosty, cool tone palette, and this glitter shade here, when I saw the photos online, I really didn't pay attention to it because I was just focusing on the, this green here, this duochrome shade, and of course that deep blue. And while I saw the silver, I did not think it was going to be a chunky glitter. Not only that, but it has an interesting texture, and I think the texture is designed so that the glitter would adhere to your lids without you having to do any like fix-it spray, anything of that nature. So we'll put it to the test today and see. I'll put a pinned comment down below to see how it wears for several hours afterwards. This is the first time on this video that I'm going into this palette, so first impressions. I did swatch it just now, and I do have some reservations on, how nicely some of these shades kind of went on to my wrist. So I'll swatch it again after we go through a little bit of the product description and we'll just see. But this color story, these three shades especially, I love it. I love it. And I'm glad I wore this top. It kind of goes with the color story here. So a little bit about the palette itself directly from Byredo's website. The newest addition to the eyeshadow 5 colors collection, Metal Boots in the Snow, is an icy green harmony that adds transformative new depth to smoky eyes. The long-lasting formula gives perfect coverage with rich color payoff, lightweight, creamy, and blendable, especially with the fingers. Metal Boots in the Snow's cool khaki palette is inspired by a winter walk in heavy boots. Housed in our treasured metal raindrop compact, it recalls the glamorous cosmetic cases of the past, now made for the future. The raindrop compact they're referring to, I did talk about this in a different Byredo video, actually when I reviewed Dysco. So, but the raindrop compact, I think I hear, or I've heard people call it the oyster compact, which to me, has a resemblance as well. I mean, this definitely looks like it's oyster shape. So anyways, I refer to this as both. Raindrop is cool, oyster is cool. This is just a cool compact. For those who are seeing Byredo for the first time, it does come with a pouch. These shadows are made in Italy and they have a shelf life of 12 months. So let's move on to the swatches. I'm going to save this shade for last because it can get a little bit messy. So here are 4 of the shades. So we have Verglas, nice and creamy, easily applied, easily swatched, followed by Ground Frosting. This is the duochrome. And then we have Boucle, and this is nice and creamy as well, also Ground Frosting. This next shade, which is Strapped, I'm not too sure about. It's kind of light, and there's still a lot of product left on my finger. Does not have the same creamy texture as these 3. I'm going to go back in for a second application, and I mean, it looks very promising on the compact, but it just has a different texture. The payoff's a little bit, well, not a little bit, but it is obviously lighter. Still pretty though, and it does have, it looks more like a matte next to these metallic duochrome, like creamy shades. It kind of is like a soft matte, but it does have some shimmer to it. And then finally, for that last silver shade, Vermoss, or Vermoss. And I went very light using my pinky, and this is how much product I got. And as you can see, it's going to take, especially with a finger, a few tries to really spread and get the product on. And I bet, yeah. So some of it's going to be a bit tough. You're going to have a little bit left. Although it does wipe off very easily onto a tissue. and I don't feel like I need to use makeup remover to get all the glitter off. The interesting texture with this shade is, I wonder if you can see the indentation right here. This is for my finger, but if you press into it with some force, and if you move it, you move your finger as you press into it, you begin to feel the product. And again, I got a lot of product from that just now. You feel the gel texture that's made up, or the gel texture that is created for the shade here. So very interesting. It makes me think this is gonna adhere to your lids without that additional help, but we will see. So let me go back in real quick because they do have descriptions of each of the shades, and I definitely wanna go through them with you guys. Here, starting at the top here is Verglas, a celestial metallic silver, followed by Ground Frost, a luminous earthy green with brown iridescence, and then Boucle, a matte dark bluish gray. Strat is a deep rich khaki with glittering gold, and Fermas, a glittery silver top coat. Indeed, it is a top coat type of shade. I do see the gold glitter, but it's just subtle. It looks way more impactful in the compact. So let's just see how this plays out once I apply it on my lids. I'm going to first take Strat. And I'm applying that generously right above the lash line. And I'm just going to blend out and see what that's like using Sonia G's Blender Pro. It does blend out nicely, and you know, the application felt light, but as you blend it out, it becomes even a bit lighter. So it's almost like a good base shade depending on what you're trying to do. I'm going into Boucle. I'm adding the shade here right along the upper lash line, and just building that. And I'm going to blend what I've placed with the same brush, just moving that further towards the middle of the lid. Then taking ground frosting, going to apply that generously from sort of the middle of the lid into the crease. And I think this is a beautiful shade. It looks more brown on camera, but when I look at my vanity mirror, I definitely see that green. And as you turn, you see the iridescence between the two shades. This is actually a very beautiful shade. I'm taking Verglas and I'm putting that on the brow bone. This is a low-key frosty look by placing this on the brow bone. And then because I have so much of this glitter left on my pinky from the swatches, I'm going to place that onto the center of the lid. For me, it's the obvious place to go, but you can certainly, you know, and I'm thinking like New Year party, I'm thinking you can put it into the inner corner. You could also place it up here if you wanted to. You could put some down here. You can really do a lot with it. So the texture, how this feels on the lid, it just sticks. It feels sticky as I pat my finger down, and I think this is definitely gonna stay on way longer than some of the other eyeshadows I have that have chunky glitter but don't have that kind of gel-like texture to it. So, but yeah, I'll give an update and a pinned comment below, and very interesting. This is very interesting. The look that I had on before I started patting this on is something I would wear during the daytime. With the glitter, it's definitely a party look. I wouldn't even say it's an evening look. It's more of like a party look. I'm gonna bring this back for New Year's and just kind of revisit it. It's definitely fun. The next thing I want to do is under the eyes. I do want to go in and add more of boucle. And then I'm also going to go into strap to mix some of that shade in. And then because I have lots of glitter, might as well start adding it on the lower lash line as well. Okay, I'm ready for this party, wherever it's happening. Let me duplicate this on the other side, put on some mascara, and then we'll come back for the rest of the look. Okay, so I actually want to do something a little bit different. You can see that on the left eye here, I put boucle in a more, more concentrated below. I didn't mix any of strap into it, and I'm not going to add the glitter all over the upper lid. I actually just want to add it onto the inner corner to get a different feel, play around, because this is a first impressions. Still not a, daytime look for me, but I think it's still fun. And I'm gonna put on mascara and see, but I almost want to say this is what I would prefer over the all over lid glitter. Although the all over, has its own charm, because as this glitter shifts on top of like any green shadow, it reflects kind of green versus blue versus silver. So there's more to look at. It's more interesting. But I think this has a more low-key, this is actually not low-key, it's a little bit more subtle. It's a little bit more subtle. You're still playing with glitter, it's still very visible, but just a little bit more toned down. So I kind of like this more. But yes, I'll put on mascara, then we'll truly come back for the rest of the look. For blush, I'm going to go with Hermès's Rose Abricot. And for lips, I'm going to use one of my favorite shades from Hermès. This is Beige Ébloui. When Beige Ébloui came out, I was determined to get a backup of this color, because this is limited edition, so once it's gone, supposedly it's not going to come back, and I just really love the shade. I think it looks good on a lot of people. It works for me. It has that pinkiness. It's like neutral, but it has a bit of pink. It's warm. Against a cool look like this, dramatic cool look, it brings a bit of warmth, so it's just a nice complement. Yeah, it's just very flexible. Like, you could just throw this in your purse, and if you're looking for a little bit of color during the day, this is a great option. It goes with different outfits. So yes, I was determined, but then a bunch of lipsticks got released soon after, and I just completely forgot about it. So I don't know, maybe it's gonna be on my like Black Friday shopping wish list or something. It might not even go on sale, but I might just pick up another one of these. I don't even know at this point if it's still available and in stock, but if it is, as per usual, I'll have a link below. But yes, I just wanted to shout out, give this shade one more shout out in a video. So overall, I love the color story. I love the, bluish gray. I'm obsessed with that color. I would call it slate. That's how I think of this color, the shade. And I also love Ground Frost. So beautiful. It is such a functional shade because it's iridescent, it's duochrome. You definitely see the green, which I love, but you also get some of that brown in there. So it kind of turns this cool look into, it's not just a cool look, you can add a bit of warmth by using the shade. You can also put the shade all over your lids and let it be your one and done. Or use a shade, pair a bit with this on the inner corner, and it'd be like a nice daytime look that's also interesting because it's got the iridescence. The weakest shade on here, I don't think that's gonna be a surprise. The weakest shade is this one here, Strap. It's khaki green. I'm a huge fan. You guys know, if you've seen recent videos, NARS Climax palette, khaki green. Chanel Beige from Summer, that intense palette, khaki green. Yeah, so lots of khaki green, and I am all over it. I welcome like any more palettes in khaki green, sure, bring it on. I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna try it. But this one here is just so light. And it, again, I'm gonna swatch it, hoping that I could get something else out of it. But this is what you get. And I still have a lot of product. I'm not sure what's going on here. This is okay, but I had to build it up. So the way that I would use a shade, if at all, is going to be a base shade to just build a nice kind of greenish, with a hint of brown underneath these two. Because this is going to be the star of the show. This is going to, you know, it could help just deepen, give you dimension. It could also be what you use for your smoky look too. But the star of the show is really going to be these two. My favorite shade is this one. I think that's obvious by now. But I don't know what happened here. That's too bad. This shade here on the brown bone is beautiful, nice and frosty. Inner corners is going to work great too. And I like that it's not just like just a silver shade. There's a little bit of that brown undertone to it. It's not a straight silver. And I feel like I have to swatch it again. So I think that's interesting. And the texture of the shade is notable because it is the same texture as the shadows found on the Dysco palette. My favorite Byredo palette so far. And let me wipe some of the shadows off so I can swatch some from Dysco. These two shades especially, same texture as the silver. Look at that glide. Now this shade here, and this one is called Velvet, is similar to how Strap feels. However, and let me swatch. However, the payoff, night and day. You get much better payoff than this. So, I mean, I say similar only because these two are notably creamier and they kind of flake if you put too much pressure, but still that flake, you can blend it so easily with your finger or with a brush and you get, you know, awesome pigment out of it. So it's actually creamier than Strap, but I say it's similar because it's less creamy than these two. And I'm just very surprised. Let's get into the last shade, Faux Fur. Faux Fur, it's not even that similar in texture, but it's not as creamy as its sisters. Yeah, so I guess Faux Fur is most similar to this because it's light. However, Faux Fur is more buildable. It's more buildable than this. I'm a little bit baffled. I'm not sure what's going on here. Other than that one shade, I think the rest are gorgeous. This glitter here, not everybody is going to use it or be a fan of it, but I do like that idea. I think it plays well into Byredo's concept of just putting out makeup that's a little bit different than what we see from high-end brands. And it's supposed to be an invitation to play, to experiment, and you know, it's almost like, don't even worry about creating looks that you can wear out. Just create looks that you feel like doing and then, you know, see what happens. So I feel like the inclusion of this glitter shade, while gives it wow factor, also conceptually fits well with the Byredo theme. So that's my take, and I do want to take out the Prism palette because there is a deeper green shade here that I want to swatch. This texture is totally different from the Raindrop compacts, but this is kind of what I was expecting with this shade. And let me show you, it's beautiful. You see what I'm trying to get at? That shade in Prism should have been in this palette. Clearly the formulation is different, and this here Prism also made in Italy. So I don't know what happened. If not for Strapped, I think this would be a home run. I actually think the glitter shade is fun, even though I confess it's probably not something I'm going to use often, but I do think it fits with the theme. It's fun. So those are my thoughts on the Byredo Boots in the Snow palette. I will have a pinned comment below. I'm going to wear this look throughout the day and see what happens to the glitter. If it falls, if it stays. I think it'll stay. I will let you guys know. Thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, welcome, good to have you. Consider giving this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified every time new content is released. I review a lot of luxury makeup, occasionally luxury skincare, luxury makeup brushes, fude, Japanese makeup brushes. So see you guys soon. Bye.